Hey, this is me, Brian. Today is, I believe, June 21st, summer solstice, right? It's right now around 8 a.m. in the morning, right? And the ambient air temperature is 45 degrees. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I think the overnight low when we woke up this morning was like around 39, maybe 40, 41, somewhere around there, right? We got a wind coming out of the north, blowing about between 3 and 6 miles an hour, sustained. So if you hear any wind noise, I apologize. I have no control over it. Wind is kind of an interesting thing, though, right? And it's supposed to be the middle of June. Now, here's one of the pitfalls of living out here in the boonies, right? When you're growing your own food and you're homesteading, right? Or you're trying to, get your flowers and stuff around your house to grow, right? Is that, up here above 5,000 feet, the weather is vastly different than down below or in the cities. Cities tend to generate their own weather with all of the pavement and the glass and everything else. But out here, it's just raw Mother Nature, right? And sometimes, like this season so far, right, this past winter, we got an overload of snow. I mean, it wasn't any record amounts, but it was a lot. Down here in the valley, we had at least 2 feet of snow on the ground for, more than a month and a half. Right, as you can see, there's still barely little tiny bits of snow on the very tops of the mountains over there at Jefferson, Shoshone. Toyobi behind me's got some. And when you go up in the canyons and stuff, the water's running like mad because it's still up in the canyons, there's still a lot of snow. Right, so, right, with the wind patterns the way they've been blowing, right, it either blows from the north to the south or the south to the north here in this valley because of the way the mountains, the way it flows. Right, it brings in, if it's blowing from the south to the north, it's bringing in, the air from the low pressures that circulate counterclockwise. If it's blowing from the north, it's bringing in the high pressure air, from the high pressures, right? There's, spinning around clockwise, right? So, right, sometimes the valley gets cold, right, because it brings the cold air over the tops of the mountains, and boom, there it is. You wake up, right, and half of your garden is frozen. Right? The squashes are, doing pretty good. Look, they already have flowers. Right? Look at that big one. Frozen dead. Right? That one made it, and that one kind of made it a little bit right here, got frozen. That one's frozen. Look at this one. Right? Now, some of the corn froze. Oh, let me get out of the way. Right here. Right? Look. See? This one might come back. It didn't get froze too bad, but look, some of the squishes, some of the beans didn't make it. Right? All of this stuff in the ground, all of the little babies did. All of the babies survived, right? Because they're babies, right? But everything else has got water and stuff in its leaves, right? That's how they grow. See that one right there grows a little bit, right? Now, see, look, the tater froze. Right, but I peeled out the top. He's still growing because he's in the bucket insulated. Just the top part that was sticking up was the part that froze. Right? You see everything that's down below the edge. You see how it didn't get frozen. Right? Why don't the weeds freeze, right? Look at this. The tomato plants just froze, dead. See, these two were bell pepper plants. Right, they were store-bought. I think they were, this one was the tomato, this one was the bell pepper. See, look how big the bell pepper was. There was two of them. Right, these plants were going to be rippers, but all of a sudden, right, we got a cold snap. 36 degrees. I think it was the lowest it got was 36 to 34, something like that. Right, and anything that was above the ground that had leaves, right, that was flourishing, froze. Boom. This stuff mostly. So, what do? There's not really much you can do, you know what I'm saying? I hope maybe that some of the ones that ain't so frozen, you know what I'm saying, come back to life, right? But the ones that, replant. That's all you can do. Yeah, sure, it's the middle of June, right? But you still got July, August, September, and October, right? Now we don't know how this spring and summer is going to finish out. We don't know that if it's going to, from this point forward, it's just going to heat up, keep going, and we're going to get into summer. We don't know that, right? You know, you just got to take your chances with what you got. Now, the good thing is that all of the babies survived, right? Yeah, they got a slow start, but that's because the first batch of babies, you know what I'm saying, a couple, 3 weeks ago, right, didn't make it. This is why, right? Along with all of these cool flowers and all of this water that's been in the ground and floating around and everything that's growing wild like mad, right? This year we've had an explosion of grasshoppers and butterflies, you know what I'm saying, bumblebees around the honeysuckle bush, right? And there are all kinds of insects you would not believe. Like, if I was to take off walking through them yellow flowers right there, I'd probably jump 1,000 grasshoppers just walking through, right? Now, baby, you know, when you plant your stuff, if you got it outside and you have this kind of a menace, this situation, right, the grasshopper is going to eat everything that grows. Anything that pops up out of the ground, the grasshopper is going to eat it, chew on it. I've tried to plant beets, I don't know how many times, right? You know what I'm saying? Every time the little tiny beet sprouts pop up, boom, I come out the next morning and they're ate down to their little red stub, right? You know? And you got to be mindful because of the big gypsy moths. They lay the eggs for the tomato worms when you're trying to grow tomatoes. Now we don't got any more tomatoes. I got one tomato left. It's about this big. It's a hitchhiker, a little wild one that popped up in one of my buckets, right? But and the reason it's still alive, it didn't freeze, because it's in the bucket. Remember, the bucket is insulated by the ground, thermal effect. All right? Yeah. If you grow stuff in buckets, this is, you know, this probably wouldn't have happened if the tomato plants were started in the buckets. But they're store bought. They bought them from the store. You know, last week, you know, it was nice. It was warm. We were having 70, you know, mid 70 degree days, right? And so they decided to plant it in the ground. Chance we take. Right? So, yeah, I'm going to replant some more bell peppers and some more chili peppers. You know I am. Right? You know, if I could get the grasshoppers not to eat them, right? This is how bad it is. Sissy and Judy have been bringing grasshoppers in the house and eating them. Freaking Teresa out. Excuse me. Wow, I breathed in some dirt right there. Yeah. You know, I mean, look at this, these flowers, there's some right here, look. I'm touching the top of some yellow flowers that are standing right here right now. Right, look at them. This is all wild. Then it runs all the way out, at least a half a mile to the dirt road that goes that way up to the highway. All right? So, what's the lesson learned here? You got to take your chance when you live out here in the boondocks. And it applies to anything and everything. Right? You know, like the lilac trees right here. I come out, what are you doing out here, Brian? This is what I'm doing my chores. I'm watering all the trees and taking care of everything, you know, around in the yard and everything else. Right? Yeah, it's 45 degrees. But the trees and the bushes, right, above 40 degrees, you can water them all you want. They're, you know, it's not going to hurt them. They're going to grow. In fact, the lilac bushes right here, right, are getting ready for their second round of blooms. Right? You see all the stubs? I mean, there are millions of little blooms right here just waiting to pop out. You know? Yeah. It's going to live. It's going to come through. It's going to survive. But it has to be established. You understand? And you got to have, you know, the proper kind of soils and stuff like that around it to insulate it. Right? And, you know, hope you don't get zillions of grasshoppers. Anyways, I'm going to go finish doing my chores and show you guys a couple of things, you know what I'm saying, that you need to be mindful of and you need to watch out for, right? You know, when you're doing, you know, along your irrigation lines for your bushes and your trees and your fence line. Right there's the frost tree next to the lawnmower. Okay, now when you have irrigation lines that run, you know, the length of your yard, right, all the way out to the end of it is right there. You can see it, right? When you have irrigation lines that run all the way out and they're old and they've been there for a while, you know what I'm saying? There's a few things that you need to keep track of, right? And make sure that they're still working right. You know, I do this like about once a week because you know, we have well water, you know what I'm saying? And like them irrigation lines have been there so long that they've sucked in a lot of dirt, this and that, whatever. They come apart real easy, you know what I'm saying? I have to, you know, flush them out. And I've poked a lot of different holes in them, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that they work right so that the trees will actually start growing again. When we first moved in here, half of these trees were dead, right? And this one here was only like about 3 feet high, right? I've been working on this for 2 years, right? So we're gonna go get a close-up look so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, now, at least once a week, I got to come in here to this end bush right here, right? Because the dirt builds up at the end of the, you know, at the end of the pipe, right? And I got to unclog the little hole with my special little tool that I made. You want to check. I'm going to check and make sure that all your other ones are still dripping good. That one's got a good puddle right there. All right. And follow along. See, look, they're all getting ready to bloom again. All right, make sure that everything is wet and looking good. You can hear it draining out. Look at this one. This one came back to life this spring, right? From almost dead, and he's already bloomed some flowers, right? So, look at all the lilacs getting ready to go again. All right, you want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, you want to check your connections where they're connected at and make sure, right, that they're together real good. All right. You don't want them to pop off. So see, we got a lot line here. Alright. But you're getting good drainage all along the line. You can hear it. Alright. And this one here, a wild road bush. These two are doing good. Yeah, it's training right there. Alright. All out the line. Alright. We're getting water all the way to the end to the ant pile. Alright. Alright, that's good. Now, the last time I showed you guys these flowers right here, they were all crinkly and gnarly, they hadn't bloomed yet. Alright, they're right here next to these ones. Now, when you're dealing with this kind of an old irrigation hose, this is a soaker hose. This is one of them old, you know, hard rubber foam hoses that like soaks water out, right? But this thing is, God knows how old, right? These hoses are designed, you know, to lay on the ground, right, and wrap around an area, right, and you just wet the ground and soak it into the ground. Okay, but this one runs all along this tree line here, along the front fence, all the way over to that tree, right? And continues on, but the end of it is like right there by that stump that you guys can't see. It's right there, right? Now, this hose is so old and it's so hard that it doesn't soak water through it anymore. It's like a regular hose, right? So what I did was, I created my little tool, right? It's just a little round pile, then I curled over the end, right? And I go along and I poke holes in it specifically at the bottom of each tree, right? Now it seems like always towards the end of it is where the hose usually clogs up, right? Or gets debris in it, you know what I'm saying? And it's where you gotta, you know, physically, and, you know, redo the hole, you know, unpoke it every once in a while. All right, here, let me put this down. right? And it's just specific for each one of these trees. That one's doing good, right? And I know the ones in there are already doing good. This one always clogs up. You want to keep your tree wells in pretty good shape? I redid this one a couple weeks ago. I had to, right? And come here probably this weekend, hopefully if I get time. I'm going to redo this one right here. And I got another one over there in the other back garden I got to redo too. Oh, sorry about that. What are you doing, Bob? Huh? Yeah. You been eating grasshoppers again? Yeah? Yeah, anyways, there's Doobie's cameo appearance. Okay, now this little tree here has decided it wants to live, even though it got frozen a little bit, right here along the edge and around the backside. Right? It's been cut down before a couple times, right? But it's got a little rock tree all around it. So this one's going to be a challenge right here, because since it decided it wants to live, I'm decided I want to, make it live, right? So. Yeah, these are all sticker bushes. But you can see where it froze. This little one kind of froze a little bit. Right? Yeah, this one over here. But there is a rock tree well around it. Right? And I gotta clear this area out in order to get to it. Right? I don't know how much of it I'm going to, but this here little tree is gonna live. Grasshoppers. All kinds of bugs, right? But anyways, so to me, this is the lesson learned, right? And follow along here, right? For all of you young people, right? That choose to come live out here in the wilds. You know what I'm saying? It's not really that hard. It really isn't. It doesn't require a lot. It just takes effort, commitment. You know what I'm saying, right? And some hustle, a little bit. Everybody's got game. You just got to figure out what it is and how to use it, right? No. But be mindful. You got to understand. You have to be able to go back in time, to live back in time. To me, I'm lucky. I'm old. And I grew up living in this kind of environment back home. So I flowed back to it. Right? You don't live by the clock. I don't even have a clock. Right? Teresa bought me a really nice watch for Christmas and I ain't even opened the box yet. Right? I don't care about time because I go by what's in front of me. I go to sleep usually around the same time every night. I wake up at the same time every morning. Boom, I don't need an alarm clock. Right? I flow with the seasons and what's around me. So I learn from it. Yeah, I feel bad for John and Teresa. It's their garden, or John and Trina. It's their garden. You know what I'm saying? But John, I talked to John, and he ain't giving in. He knows. He comes from Northern California, where it's worse. Right? So this will go back. We'll be all good. You know what I'm saying? You just have to, accept those things that you can't control, and let it play out the way it works. And that, that's life, advice. You know what I'm saying? Experience right there. Yeah, it's beautiful right now, but come late summer, all of these other flowers are going to be dead sticks, and we're going to have a forest of dead sticks, right? Who knows? It's going to be like this again next year. We don't know. We don't know how it played out this year yet, right? So you just got to keep going with what you know and deal with it, right? This is me, Brian. Just a little look inside the morning, right? What I do, what I wander around and think about, you know what I'm saying, right? Please like and subscribe, share this video, you know what I'm saying, if you think somebody else wanders around too much. Go Ukraine. Thank you.